Sort of the Story.
This is a regular episode of the podcast that you listen to. Yeah, we needed an intro.
Yes, this is the podcast where we tell each other stories, and also you are here.
Oh my god, welcome! And we are continuing on with our segment on famous classic fairy tales. And
Yes.
Matt, we had our live show. It was wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Everyone was super sweet. We played some games, and we got some really nice comments. Got to spilled a couple of fun little secret treats, so if you weren't there, better be there next time, you square.
Yeah. Also, we have a Discord now, and that was revealed. So if you want to join our Discord, the links are in my link tree on TikTok. We need a better way of communicating with people. You'll just have to get it. Figure it out on Instagram. Bye.
Good luck.
Good fucking luck. Do you want to just get into it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Max is going to go. Max is only going. So
bye.
Bye, Max. We love you. We miss you.
I'm already gone.
No.
All right. So we recorded the episode of Sleeping Beauty, which was your story. And I immediately regretted the way that I did my story.
Okay.
Because I'm doing the story of Rapunzel.
Oh, God, such a good one.
I did a bunch of research. Turns out Rapunzel is a very, very old story, right? There are theories that it goes all the way back to like pre-Christian religion with the idea of like a sun god or goddess up in the heavens and like trying to get them down to earth or trying to get up to them in heaven, in like the sky and everything like that. So this has a long lineage of being a story that is a part of the common canon.
Sorry if you're going to say this later, but I did the story, The Daughter of the Sun, and it was a woman in a tower, and then the sun god got her pregnant by, like, shining on her.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Like, there are a lot of stories of gods, goddesses, either themselves being trapped and, like, humans trying to get to them, or, like, secluding themselves and humans trying to get to them. It's the bigger you make it and the wider you set the parameters for what this kind of story is about, like basically about like isolation and like reaching into that isolation to get something and whatever motivation there might be for that, this becomes a very, very old story.
Okay.
But the earliest iteration that we have in the modern canon is Petrosinella, which is an Italian storytale. Storytales.
One of those story tales, also Citronella. It's a story about a girl who repels mosquitoes.
There are an Italian and a French fairy tale, Petrosinella, which is the Italian, and Parsinet, which is Percinet, which is the French equivalent. Both of these precede the Brothers Grimm story, which I will be telling today.
Okay.
And they're also both better than the one I'm telling today. So I'm going to tell the worst version of Rapunzel, which is the Grimm version, and then I'll go through and I'll tell you guys a little bit about like what the cooler older versions did.
Cool. So this is the one that we all know, that the Grimm's brother. Okay.
Yeah, this is the one that is most commonly accepted. This is the one that is called Rapunzel.
Okay. Woo!
So
I'm excited.
I'm going to get into it.
Also, Tangled is one of the best Disney movies. That's all. It's like Tangled and then Moana. Nothing else.
So this is pertinent.
Okay.
Rapunzel is an alternate name for an herb, like actually not an herb, more of a root vegetable with edible leaves, which is called rampion.
Okay.
It's also called Rapunzel.
Oh, okay.
So our story begins. A man and a woman live in a house, and the woman is pregnant. They have one window looking out the back of their house, which looks out into an enclosed garden in a courtyard of an enchantress. In some versions, it is a subsistence garden, which means it is a garden designed for, like seasonal harvesting for like the food that she and her family needs.
Okay.
So the idea is that like if you are sort of more isolated, if you don't have a community that you can rely on, a subsistence garden is everything that you need. Like if you can't rely on someone else to be like making wheat and then harvesting it and then you trade with them, this is like
you have literally everything.
All of the food that you need is in a subsistence garden.
I would
so
like
in some
to live
versions,
in a place where I have a subsistence garden, but I would have to like look at it every day.
Mm-hmm. Plus you'd have to wake up in the morning and that's not my bag.
and that's just unacceptable.
I love the idea of like eating things that I have grown, but I also know that I am a fundamentally lazy person and that's never going to be me. And that's okay. I can handle a solid 1 month of taking care of a vegetable garden before I burn out on it, and then I just have a bunch of dead vegetables.
All year round.
Yeah.
Then again, insane. I mean, what else is she doing? That might be the only job she has, is just taking care of her garden. It's not like she has debt.
Yes.
Ah, man.
Friggin' enchantresses, man.
Oh, God, take us back.
All the luck. So this couple's window looks out over this enclosed garden, which nobody's allowed into except for the enchantress.
Okay.
But through their window, they can see down into it. And right under the window is a patch of rampion, or Rapunzel, which, as I said, is a vegetable. The root is kind of like a radish or a turnip, so you can eat that in the same way that you would eat a radish or a turnip. The leaves are used in a similar way to spinach and have kind of a similar flavor.
Oh, delicious.
And then they have these really beautiful, as far as I can, my research went, inedible, like pale purple flowers at the top.
Nice.
So they're very beautiful, but they're also very functional. So this window looks out on this patch of rampion, and the woman of the couple is pregnant, and she begins to have pregnancy cravings, specifically for the forbidden rampion in the enchantress's garden. She just sits at the window and she looks out at this rampion and she's like, God, I want to eat that rampion.
I wonder if she was iron deficient.
Probably.
Right?
I don't know about the iron content of rampion.
But if it's like coming from the dirt, like some
like
pregnant women like eat dirt, because it's like it has iron in it.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's just staring out at this. She like moves her chair over by the window and she just like fully like telltale heart stares at this rampion in the enchantress's garden. And she's so obsessed with this.
This is a time before TV.
Yeah.
She's watching lettuce grow like, if only.
Someday.
Oh my gosh. I would literally give my firstborn for some vegetables.
It's funny you should say that.
No.
We'll come back to that later. So the window looks out on this garden. She is just sitting at this window, staring out at the rampion. And she begins to waste away. She won't eat anything else. She only wants this rampion. And she gets very, very sick. And, her husband calls the doctor or equivalent and is like, my wife is getting very sick. And the doctor's like, ma'am, you have to eat. And she's like, I can't. Everything else will make me sick except for this rampion. It's the only thing I want to eat and I can't have it. And the doctor goes to the husband and he's like, your wife and the baby that she's carrying are going to die if she doesn't eat something. She's starving to death.
Yeah.
And so the husband is like, well, I don't know what I can do. Like, this rampion is forbidden. Like, no one is allowed into this garden. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And the doctor kind of tells him, he's like, look, she's gonna die. So what's the greater crime? Letting your wife die because of your negligence or sneaking into someone's garden?
I mean, this is the big ethical dilemma. Also, maybe just go knock on the door.
You would think.
With some money. Can I buy some of your vegetables, please?
You would think. But as in every fairy tale, the crux of the issue is communication.
God damn it.
The husband hatches a plan.
Excuse me, I have some delicious carrots. Might I trade you for some, I don't know, old leaves that like you probably won't even eat? Easy.
So the husband hatches a plan. He waits until the dead of night, and then he climbs out of their back window into this garden, and he gathers up an armful of the rampion, he puts it in a bag, and then he climbs back up into the window and sneaks back into his house.
Okay.
And he wakes up his wife, and he prepares this rampion into a salad. Aww. And she has it, and she's like, this is the best thing I've ever had in my entire life. This was delicious. Like, I feel so much better. Thank you so much. And he's like, oh, thank God. Okay, my wife is safe.
Yeah.
The next morning, she wakes up, and she's like, God, I just really want some more of that rampion.
God damn it.
She's like, I think I want it more now that I've tasted it. Like, it was so good. Like, I can't even imagine eating anything else right now. Like, I literally, like, if you offered me a Snickers bar, I would throw up in your face.
He's like, okay, well, let's try. You dramatic bitch. Let's just give a Snickers a try, and then we'll come back to the rampion plan.
Can you imagine being a pregnant woman and having the, like, sort of license to be craving anything, and the thing that you crave is a salad?
God, that's like my least favorite type of human. It's like, I knew a woman who lived next door to us who was like, she just had a baby, and like she was very active and stuff like that, and like she was fine. She was kind of rude, but like she was fine, but she just had a baby. And the second she got back from the hospital, the first thing she did, she was like, oh my gosh, like, I just feel like I haven't had a good run in a while. And everyone was like, you ran the day you gave birth. Like, you were running, and then you were like, I guess it's time to give birth now. And then she gave birth, and she came back like 2 days later, and I was like, I could just really use a run, And we're like, nobody knows. Nobody knows what you're talking about. And then she was like, I'll just do like a light jog. And then she put her fucking 2-day-old baby in a stroller and just like jogged for like a mile. And she was like, only a mile, though. And we're like, fuck you.
Nobody can relate to you,
And then, like, a year later, she was back on her, like, regular, like, 25-mile run a day.
Jesus
and I'm like,
Christ.
lady! And her baby was just, like, working out in a stroller. Like, come on.
The baby was also running.
Yeah. That's that woman that's like, I don't know, like, some girls, I guess, like, crave, like, ice cream and pickles, but all I want is, like, a nice, like, side salad. I'm just not like other girls.
Oh my god, if I could just get like a side Caesar, hold the croutons, I would cry. Like nobody can relate to you.
Can I get the dressing on the side? Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
And listen, we're not dunking on people who like to eat healthy. It's just like, oh my god, I always think about this lady going on her fucking 3-mile run with her baby like passed out in the stroller, and I'm like, come on.
No.
Today I woke up at like 5 p.m.
I would rather go through the process of labor than
run a mile.
Run 5 miles.
I'm
going to say that's an equivalent.
Sure, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
for me, personally, someone who doesn't run. Anyways,
okay,
all this aside, so...
We're not like other girls. We're worse.
Like, on any metric, we are worse.
We are, yeah, we're not doing well as humans. Okay, so side salad, go ahead.
So she's like, I want this 3 times as much as I did yesterday. Now that I've had it, I want it so badly. And her husband is like, okay, well, I guess I have to go get some more. So he waits again until the dead of night, and he climbs out the window, and he goes into the garden, and he takes up another armful of the rampion, and he starts to climb back up the wall into his window when the enchantress appears behind him. And she's like, hey, what you doing with my rampion? And he's like, oh. And then she just like sort of stands there tapping her toe at him, and he's like, hello? Oh my... Is this not my garden?
I'm sleepwalking.
This is so gross. I must have fallen out of my own window and then gotten all this rampion stuck in my bag. How did that happen? Oh my god.
I bet this works, right? This is something that she's like, oh, I hate it when that happens. Go on your way.
So she's like, what are you doing in my garden? Like, why are you stealing the food that I need?
Yeah.
Why? He's like, okay, fine. And he explains to her, he's like, my wife is pregnant, and, you know, our window looks out over this, and this is the only thing she'll eat. And please, like, she's going to die. She's wasting away. She's going to die if she doesn't get this rampion. Like, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to do this, but this is, you know, I didn't really have a choice. And the enchantress kind of softens a little bit, and she decides to, like, give him a break. And she's like, okay, you can take as much rampion as you want for your wife.
Nice.
In exchange,
nope.
I would love to have the child that she's going to give birth to. And the husband at this point is like fully like shaking and pissing himself. He's like,
she's just a woman who gardens. Like fucking this like weird medieval society needs to fucking get their shit together.
Yeah. So he's like fully panicking, and she's like, but in exchange, and he's like, yes, whatever, anything. Like, he doesn't even hear it, basically.
Jesus.
And she's like, great, so when your wife gives birth, you'll give the baby to me. And he's like, yep, okay. That's gonna be a really hard one to explain, but yeah, sure, okay. So I can, like, take this and, like, leave. And she's like, yeah, you can leave. And he's like, are you gonna kill me? And she's like, no, you can leave. We made a deal just now, so you're good. You can go. And he's like, okay, bye. So he like scurries back up the wall in through his window.
He doesn't go through his front door. he still has to sneak in.
Well, her whole thing is like, from what the description sounds like, it's like walled in. So the only way to get in, like he would have to go out through the front gate to get to his front door.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, so he scales the wall back up and he goes inside and he prepares his wife her salad. And she's like, this is so good, babe. Thank you so much. Like, I know it's really dangerous and like, I won't ask again. And he's like, actually, you can ask again. She said that we can have as much as we want. And she's like, oh my God, that's so nice of her. Like, that's so crazy. And she just like gave that to you. And he's like, oh, well, so here's the thing. He tells her. So time passes.
Yeah.
The baby is born. They named the baby Rapunzel, which is the other name for rampion.
Imagine naming your child after whatever you were craving.
Yeah.
My name would be lemon juice and chips. And it would fit my personality well, but like...
Yep.
Or like the side salad bitch is like, hello, this is my son, spinach. Caesar salad, no croutons, Johnson.
Well, actually, so they give the baby to the Enchantress. It's unclear whether they named her Rapunzel or whether the Enchantress did, I guess.
All right. To be cute.
Yeah.
Baby Spinach.
Emily Spinach.
Oh.
Who is it? FDR's daughter, right? Or no? Teddy Roosevelt? Yeah. No, Franklin Delano Roosevelt's daughter.
Alice Roosevelt, and yes, I think she was FDR's daughter.
Alice Roosevelt, FDR's, the President Franklin Delano Roosevelt of the United States, his daughter Alice. We have people from other countries listening.
I mean, that's true. Welcome, Nigeria.
She had a pet snake called Emily Spinach, and JD and I talk about that all the time. Are you looking up Emily Spinach?
No, I'm looking, it's Theodore Roosevelt.
Oh, Teddy Roosevelt? Okay. Teddy Roosevelt had a daughter named Alice who had a snake named Emily Spinach.
Yeah, she was a badass bitch. She was so good. Spinach.
Alice Roosevelt. Yeah, so the Enchantress takes this baby, names her Rapunzel, which is another name for Rampion, and she raises this baby. This little girl that the Enchantress has taken in, she grows up so beautiful and so sweet, just the sweetest little girl. And she has this long, beautiful golden hair, which everyone saw coming. And when she turns 12, the Enchantress, in some versions of the story, she becomes worried that men are taking notice of this little girl.
Oh, yeah.
In some versions, not in the Grimm version.
Okay.
In the Grimm version, she's just evil, I guess.
Yeah.
So when the girl turns 12, she decides to take her away from the world. She constructs a tower that has no doors, no stairs, and one room way up at the top with a single window. Mm-hmm. And she keeps this little girl, who has just turned 12, in this tower room. And every time the Enchantress wants to come by and, bring food or hang out with this little girl, she stands at the bottom of the tower and she shouts up to the window, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel has these long, long braids that she lets out the window. She ties them around a hook on the windowsill so that it doesn't, pull on her head.
This is what is always left out of...
Yes.
They do it in the Disney version, the recent Disney version of Tangled, but, that's the thing where you always just see her tossing it out, and then you just assume her head just falls off eventually.
She's got the thickest neck.
She's got one of those linebacker necks that's as wide as her face. Nobody wants to think about that.
Rapunzel.
Oh! Should we make muscle shirts?
I think so. So she ties her braids around this hook on the windowsill. She tosses her long, long braids out the window. For the record, the story indicates that she tosses them down 20 L's, which is an antiquated unit of measurement. I looked it up. I did the math. 1 L is about 45 inches, which means that 20 L's is 75 feet. So her hair is 75 feet long in the Grimm version of this story.
Okay.
So she tosses her hair out the window, and the Enchantress climbs up with, her basket full of whatever she needs, whatever. Rapunzel spends all of her time in this isolated tower. She has all these books and everything, and she's always singing. She teaches herself to sing, and she, plays music up there, and she just kind of, plays imaginary games with herself. She's a pretty happy girl, even in isolation, in the Grimm brothers version of the story.
Okay. She's, she would just do really well in the quarantine.
Yeah.
She's honestly kind of same.
Yep. So she's up there all on her own in isolation. A year or two pass, and she's up in this tower, and she's singing to herself. Meanwhile, the king's son, the prince, is riding through the forest, and he hears the most beautiful singing voice he's ever heard, coming from a tall, tall tower that he's never noticed before. And he comes to the tower. He hears this voice, which he's just enchanted by, and he stands listening for a long time, and he falls in love. He decides, I have to, find the source of this beautiful music, and so he walks around the tower a couple of times, and he's like, wait a minute, there isn't a door. And he's looking around, he can't find a door, he can't find any stairs, so he just sits at the bottom of the tower, and he listens to the music until it starts to get dark, and then he rides back home, because there's nothing else he can do. So he...
Yell.
You would think.
Hey yo girl!
Hey yo mama!
You know how people yell at windows?
Yeah. So he rides back home, and then the next day he comes back. He rides back into the forest, and he just waits behind a tree, and he listens to this beautiful singing voice. And he does this for weeks. He just comes every day, and he sits behind a tree, and he listens to this beautiful, beautiful singing voice. One day, while he's behind this tree, he hears someone ride up on a horse. And he hears a woman's voice shout up, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. And he sort of peeks around the tree and he sees these 2 long golden ropes descend from the window.
Yeah.
And he sees an older woman with a large basket full of food and stuff on her back scale the side of the tower and go in through the window. And he says, and this is a quote from the Grimm brothers version, "If that is the ladder by which one mounts, I too will try my fortune."
Yeah.
Which is a weirdly horny way to say that. And I don't like it.
Do you mount a ladder?
I don't think so.
Mounting implies, yes, climbing, but then sitting on.
Yeah, there's an implied hipness to it that I don't. Yeah. Anyways, I think that Jakob and Wilhelm Grimm were too horny about this, is my theory.
I mean.
So he sees this woman go up. He says to himself, well, I'm going to try that. But he doesn't want to do it while... That rope has such a beautiful singing voice.
Wow. That's the only thing I've seen come from that tower. That's got to be the thing that I'm in love with. We've got a rope fetish. It's going to be
really hard to, fall in love with a rope, but damn,
not as hard as I am.
So he doesn't want to, disturb whatever's happening. So he decides to come back. The next day, he comes back at night, and he calls up to the tower, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." And these 2 long golden ropes descend. He climbs up into the tower and he gets to the window and Rapunzel's just sitting there. Her hair is tied to the window and she's still just like reading a book. And she sees a man come into her tower and she freaks out.
Yeah, fair.
And he's like, "Oh, hey. Oh, no. No. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm really, really sorry. I've been listening to your voice and I figured out how to get up here. And I just really wanted to talk to you, and I'm really sorry."
No, this isn't okay. You should have called first.
Yes. It is described as, she's terrified, but he talks to her, quote, "quite like a friend," and she calms down. He tells her that he fell in love with her voice, and he asks her to marry him, which literally the first time that they've met. But she thinks about it for a second, and again, a quote from the story, "He will love me more than old Dame Gothel does."
That's not a reason to get married, friend.
Yeah, that's not a good reason to get married.
Oh, that marriage is not going to be successful.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he won't, be as mean as my abusive mother.
Yep.
Okay.
So Dame Gothel also is the name of the enchantress. This is the first time it comes up.
Okay.
She says yes. She says, "Absolutely, I will marry you. The only problem is, I'm assuming you want a wife who's, not in a tower, and I don't really know how to get out of the tower."
Yeah.
So they hatch a plan together. Mm-hmm. Every time he comes, he will bring a skein, which is a long thread or yarn of silk, which doesn't seem like enough. It seems like he could just bring a rope, but every time he visits, he's supposed to bring a skein of silk. Mm-hmm. Really seems like he could just buy a rope. Really she says "Oh, I'll weave it into a rope and then I'll escape. You'll come on your horse and I'll weave the rope, I'll throw it out the window and then I'll escape. It'll only take a couple of weeks of you bringing me a bunch of thread to have enough rope to get out of here to escape." And it's okay, you could just buy a rope. Just buy a rope. They already have rope. You're not inventing the rope.
Also, okay, and this might be a vanity thing on her part. She could tie her hair to that hook, climb down her own hair, then cut her hair.
You would think.
You would still have quite a bit of hair if you got down to the bottom.
There are better ways to do this, is really just the crux of this.
Yeah, sorry.
I think it's not great. But also these are 2 teenagers.
It's true, babies.
Yeah, they're dumb.
He's like, "I don't want you to cut your hair because I got a rope fetish. I want to try something later. So okay, yeah, I'll bring 1 string at a time."
1 string at a time.
Bring 1 bedsheet at a time.
Bring a rope. Anyways, so each time he visits, he's supposed to bring a skein of silk, and eventually they'll have enough and she'll weave it into a rope. And then they'll escape together.
Tummies.
So from that time forward, Dame Gothel comes to visit every day, and every night the prince comes to visit.
Okay.
Okay. One day, as they're continuing...
This marriage isn't legitimate. They have no witness.
Yeah.
They are living in sin.
What's God gonna do? He can't get into the tower.
That's true.
Without her hair or a rope.
God's not a ghost. He needs a door.
So they're a couple weeks into this plan. Rapunzel is secretly weaving this rope out of all of the silk that he's bringing her. And one day, Dame Gothel comes up, and they're hanging out, and they're eating together. And Rapunzel absentmindedly asks Dame Gothel why Dame Gothel is so much heavier than the prince. So not only is she spoiling her plans, but she's also calling her fat.
Rapunzel! What?
This is the dumbest thing that's ever happened in any story, ever. There are some other versions of the story where the way that she spoils the plan is that she mentions to Dame Gothel, she's like, I think I might need new dresses. These ones are like a little bit tighter on the waist.
Uh-oh.
And Dame Gothel figures out that it's because she's pregnant.
That makes more sense.
It does. But that's not the Grimm version.
Okay, but okay. Oh, yeah, that's really stupid. Maybe they weren't just eating and Rapunzel's like, gotta make small talk. You know how you're fatter than the prince? I mean, you know how the prince is...
Yeah, that's exactly what happens.
Okay, but maybe they're having like a fight. You know how like when you fight with your parents that like you just like burst, like especially when I was a teenager, like you just burst out the wrong thing and you give yourself away and you're like, oh, I was just so mad. I maybe that's it. Maybe she was like, yeah, well, you're fat. And Gothel was like, how would you know what that even looks like? You know no one. And she's like, well, you're fatter than the prince. I mean, the horse that he rides up. God damn it.
So, in any case, she gives up the
goods.
She
already
gives
gave
up
up the goods.
Oh boy, did she. To Dame Gothel. Dame Gothel says, I thought I had separated you from all the world, but you have deceived me. And she takes a pair of scissors and she grabs Rapunzel's hair and she cuts off all of her long, beautiful hair.
Aww.
And then she takes Rapunzel and puts her in the desert.
How does she get her out of the tower? Do they climb down her hair?
Probably.
This is what the plan should have been all along, is what I'm saying.
Also, like, cutting off her hair, I assumed was like, oh, you'll never get out of this.
No, she
like nobody can come visit you now except for me, and you can't get out of the tower because I cut off your hair.
No,
but then she puts her in the desert. So like, what's the point?
She cuts off her hair first, though.
Yeah.
How do you get out of the tower?
She could just tie it around the hook and
make her.
Yeah,
climb down it. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So she cuts off Rapunzel's braids and sends her to the desert. Weird call. And then Gothel waits in the tower. Mm-hmm. And that night, the prince comes to visit Rapunzel. He calls up and Dame Gothel has the braids tied around the hook. She throws the braids down. He climbs up and he's like, oh my god, I had such a crazy day. And he like gets up to the top and Dame Gothel is there waiting at the top. And he's like, ah! And like, he panics. She says, ah! You would fetch your dearest, but the beautiful bird sits no longer singing in the nest. The cat has got it and will scratch your eyes as well.
Even she's recognizing that she's a full villain.
Yeah.
Wait, what did she do to his eyes?
So, she doesn't.
Okay.
She scares him, and he gets so scared, and he's, like, so sad that Rapunzel isn't there, and he gets scared of her, and he panics, and he jumps out the window.
No! What?
And the first time that this is mentioned, the whole bottom of the tower is surrounded by thorns.
Okay.
So he jumps out the window, he lands in all these thorns, and they poke out his eyes, specifically.
What? He just... There's just one thorn bush, and it's, like, shaped like the peace sign, like somebody holding up the peace sign, and he falls eyes first into it. That's
the way it's described. Like I said, the Grimm brother version of this story is the dumbest thing. Like, it's so dumb. Okay, so
they really didn't try at all.
Also, Gothel didn't, like, push him in the story. She just scares him and then says that she's going to scratch out his eyes, and then he falls out of the tower, and his eyes get scratched out. But she didn't do it. Like, how did she know that was going to happen? And it doesn't make sense.
Not a brave protagonist here.
No.
Like, he sneaks into the tower. He doesn't, like, try anything else. He, like, sneaks in like a sneaky little sneak. And then he, like, hides the entire time. And then, like, he just, like, every part of him, there's nothing heroic about this guy.
No. This guy sucks.
He kind of sucks.
Okay. He sucks. Yeah. So, he is blinded by the thorns. As such, he can't find his way out of the forest and back to his kingdom, so he just wanders around in the forest, blind, weeping for Rapunzel and eating nothing but roots and berries, which is dangerous when you're blind,
Oh my god! Okay, maybe they're doing the test. Sorry, I'm interrupting so much in this one.
Oh, you're good.
What if he's doing the test where you rub the berry on your skin first, and then you see if your skin starts burning or anything like that? Isn't that a way
He wasn't
to test?
smart enough to buy a rope, so I'm going to say no, he wasn't doing that. I'm going to say he found berries and just got very lucky every time.
He was like okay with the diarrhea. He's like,
I deserve this.
I deserve this diarrhea. The horse is like, okay, but I don't.
His horse is not with him. No, but it's not established what happens to his horse.
Oh no.
But so he just wanders around in the forest, surviving off of roots and berries, blinded, crying in the forest, wailing like a ghost for years.
How does he live?
I don't know. He survives for years in the forest.
Just cast away.
The Brothers Grimm are so dumb.
So dumb.
This story has no thought put into it whatsoever. So eventually he wanders far enough that he reaches the desert.
Mm-hmm.
And as he gets to the desert, he hears a beautiful singing voice. He follows the voice because he can hear, even though he can't see.
Mm-hmm.
And he finds Rapunzel, who has set herself up in a very poor little shack. She is ostracized from society because she has two twins that she's given birth to, a boy and a girl.
Aww.
And they are all just estranged from society, living in this hut in the desert. She is singing to her children. He hears her and he goes and finds her.
Aww.
And she throws her arms around his neck and sobs because she's so happy to see him. 2 of her tears fall directly into his eyes.
No.
And his sight is healed.
What?
They all rejoice.
His eyeballs grow back?
Apparently. And then they go back together to his kingdom, and his return is rejoiced, and they live in the castle for the rest of their lives, happily ever after.
What?
The dumbest story.
Okay, so here's some iconography I never thought about with Rapunzel, right? If you think of like simple tattoos.
Yeah.
When you think of Rapunzel, you might think of like a tower, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
like a braid.
A braid, yeah, things like that. Something that I think we should replace all that with in our brains, like maybe all of us collectively can agree, that from now on, when we think of Rapunzel, we think of thorns, and then there's eyeballs attached to 2 of them, just like little eyeballs.
And a crown that has fallen off into the thorn bush.
Even that, I don't need. I just want 2 eyeballs impaled on a thorn bush, and then that, like a bramble.
Have you ever seen the Pastafarian, the flying spaghetti monster religion?
No.
There's a dumb internet religion called Pastafarianism, which worships, it's a play on Rastafarianism, and it worships a flying spaghetti monster, which is just a big tangle of spaghetti with 2 eyeballs. And I think it would be, the only difficulty with that iconography is that it
would look too much.
A thorn tangle with 2 eyeballs stuck on the thorns looks too much like a spaghetti tangle with 2 eyeballs.
I'm gonna make
the only problem I foresee.
I'm gonna make it. If anybody gets that tattoo, you'll make me the happiest little son of a bitch in town.
So, again, this is the Grimm version, the worst of all the versions.
Yeah.
There's another Grimm version from an earlier edition, or from a later edition, I believe, where she, like I said, she reveals their plan by saying that she's, her dresses are tied around the waist, and so Dame Gothel figures out that she's pregnant. There's also a version where the story ends with Dame Gothel, like, the prince falls out the window, or while he's on the way up on the braids, she just unties the braids.
Yeah.
But then she traps herself in the tower. So
I like that. I think that's fine.
So that's one of the other endings. Again, like I said, some versions, the Enchantress's garden is a subsistence garden, which adds a whole fucked up element to it, where it's like, oh, she's not just being a bitch, like, she needs this food to survive.
Yeah. And maybe people in the village won't trade with her. Like, maybe it's not that, like, she doesn't live near people. Because clearly she has neighbors.
Yeah.
Like, close neighbors. Like, neighbors that can climb out their window and be in her yard.
Yeah.
Stupid. Anyway, go ahead.
Stupid. So, some other versions of the story, which I think are much better. Yeah. They have a similar kind of arc. So, that's why I wanted to tell the Grimm version first, so that we can just get the, like, alternate versions in, like, plug in the differences. Mm-hmm. So, the French version is called Personette. which is a play on the French word for parsley.
Yeah.
Instead of being Rampion or Rapunzel that the mother is craving, it is parsley, which is outside of her window, which was at the time a very rare herb.
Okay.
So Personette Parsley, again, instead of an enchantress, it is a fairy whose garden it is.
Okay.
After everything happens with Personette, the prince, like, she's pregnant and the prince and everything, and then the fairy casts the prince out, but then she takes Personette and the twins that she's pregnant with and then eventually has, and she protects them. She sets up a magic hut for them in the forest that is always stocked with like food and drink and everything that they could need, so that they're like isolated. She's like, I don't trust anyone to be close to you, again, with good reason.
But I love you enough. Like, I love you in my toxic mom way.
Yeah, but also at the same time, I mean, there is a component of it where it's like she is locked away in a tower. Nobody's supposed to be able to get to her. There are interpretations of the story where it's like there are versions where men begin to notice Personette, Rapunzel, etc., and start harassing her when she's like 12.
God damn it.
And so the enchantress or fairy locks her away to keep her safe from these men because she's like the most beautiful girl in the kingdom. So she's trying to keep her safe in a way from
it's a toxic mom move, but like
it is, but also, I mean, it is protecting her from that, you know?
It's definitely more interesting, and it gives there's a sympathetic bent. Yeah. It's not interesting to just have her be evil.
Yeah, I know. It's like
just
the
boring.
Grimm story is so fucking boring. So that's the reason why she locks her away, and that's also why she tries to kill the prince. Yeah. Is because she's like, you came up here and you clearly had sex with this girl
that's locked away.
Yeah, which is like, again, if you're worried about like sexual assault, her first reaction is definitely like, oh, this man came up here and sexually assaulted this little girl.
But also, no matter what he did, there's a definite power imbalance
for sure
of climbing up a window to where a prisoner is and having sex with that prisoner.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So again, in the French Personette version, the fairy moves Personette and the twins to a magic hut where they are provided for. The prince, who is still blind, still wandering around in the forest, eventually, again, hears her voice in the woods. He goes to the hut and they're reunited. She heals his vision. But then they all try and sit down for a meal together because they can't leave the hut as part of the, like, they're isolated there. Yeah. They all sit down for a meal together as like a happy family, and all of the food turns to stone and the water turns to ash, and like like everything that they try and use in the house starts like attacking them or like being poisonous and stuff like that because the prince is there now.
Oh no.
The family is like, you know, days pass of them trying to defend themselves against this house that is turned on them, and they all come together as a family and they are ready to die in this house together. Aww. And the fairy takes pity and releases them and takes them back to the prince's family and says, like, I was wrong. He's actually not a bad guy. He does care about her. And so she brings the prince and Rapunzel, or Personette, and the twins back to his kingdom and, like, puts them on the throne, basically.
That is the plot for Disney's Smart House. If you've ever seen that. It's where, like, a house that is completely, like, smart.
I'm familiar with smart.
Okay, but this is for them. Also, this was made in, like, the early 2000s before we had, like, any, like, smart technology. You know? Like, so it was, like, way ahead of its time, but the house is all electronic and on a computer or whatever, and then it goes crazy and it tries to kill them.
Yeah. There's also a plot line in the TV show Eureka about that.
Oh.
So that's the French version, which is older. Yeah. In between, in terms of chronology, is Petronella, which is from the same collection of Italian fairy tales by a name that I didn't write down, John Baptiste Basile. Yeah. Same collection, same guy. Petronella, variation upon, again, Parsley instead of Rampion. Instead of a fairy or an enchantress, the woman is an ogress.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, like, the mom sneaks into the garden, steals the parsley. The ogress catches her, and she makes her promise her firstborn. When the ogress gets the firstborn, she takes her on as an apprentice. So she raises this little girl as a witch.
Yes! Oh, yes!
Way cooler version of the story.
Yeah.
So the ogress, again, like, closes her away, isolated, but she's teaching her magic and stuff like that.
Yeah, she's raising a little wild child who is like a mom that's an ogre. Like, that's cooler immediately.
And the prince doesn't hear her singing. She hears the prince riding through the forest, and she looks down, she sees him, and she's like, that guy's super handsome. So she starts singing a magic song to lure him in.
Yes, I immediately, this is all so much better.
Yeah, so she's like, hey, come on up. And she, like, lets him up, and they, like, hang out and stuff like that. They hatch their plan, and in this case, she's smart enough not to give it away to the ogress what's going on.
Yeah.
But one of the neighbors at this magic tower,
God damn it,
sees this man going up her braids into the tower. The ogress tries to catch them. She gets up in the tower, and Petronella and the prince escape out.
Yeah.
The ogress is chasing them, but they are trying to escape away on the prince's horse. Petronella, again, a witch, had the foresight to grab 3 acorns.
She has so much more agency. I love this.
I know. I was like, I should have told, like, my regret is that I didn't tell this version of the story, which is way more interesting.
Yeah, but I like taking this from the original.
Yes,
I'm really happy you did the original.
Better.
Or not the original, but, the one that we know.
Yeah. So she has the foresight to take these 3 acorns to try and waylay the ogress while she's chasing them.
Yeah.
So as they are escaping, the ogress is chasing them, and Petronella throws the first acorn behind them.
Yeah.
The acorn lands and turns into a dog.
Okay.
Like a dog that is like chasing after the ogress and trying to bite her.
Yeah.
The ogress, also being magic, conjures up a loaf of bread and feeds it to the dog.
That's nice. I thought she was going to kill the dog. I'm really happy that this magic dog just got a little treat.
And then Petronella, looking behind her, sees that the ogress is still behind her, and the dog is distracted by bread, which I guess dogs eat.
Yeah. Our dogs will eat bread.
Sure. I mean,
it's just pizza crust. She throws in some Domino's pizza crust, and the dog's like, sick!
Delicious. The second acorn she throws turns into a lion, and the ogress sees it coming, and she summons a donkey. And the lion is distracted by the donkey, kills and eats the donkey, and then the ogress, for some reason, takes the donkey's pelt and makes it into a coat for herself, which is a weird thing to do in the middle of a chase sequence.
Imagine if, like, Fast and Furious, and, like, in the middle of those car chases, somebody just stops to sew.
Yeah. So it makes herself a coat out of the donkey pelt. Again, Petronella looks behind her, sees the ogress now wearing a donkey pelt as a coat.
It doesn't even disguise her.
It makes her so she looks like a donkey, but like she also is still the ogress. She throws the third and final acorn behind them as they're fleeing. The acorn becomes a wolf, which swallows the donkey ogress whole. And that's the end, and then they escape.
It's weird that you start with a dog and you end with a wolf.
Yeah, so the idea is like the wolf saw her as a donkey and was like, I'm gonna eat that donkey, and then swallowed the donkey whole. But
why did she make a donkey cloak?
I don't know. That's not, like, I didn't read the full version of this story. I read, like, the first half, and then I read a summary for the second half, because
that's still...
I was running late.
But, but that's still so much better. It's so much more interesting.
Yeah, and it's also, Italian fairy tales especially have this trope of, like, the 3... somethings, you know, and like especially like 3 nuts that have things in them, which is also there's also a connection to the Baba Yaga stories and like the nuts of what's his name, the evil wizard from the Baba Yaga stories.
Koschei the Deathless.
Koschei the Deathless, yes, thank you. Yeah.
Also, you told that one story about the guy with the walnuts cracking them on the fountain, and then those women coming out naked and being like, you don't have anything to cover me, and then disappearing.
Yeah, there's also the 3 pomegranates is also an Italian fairy tale. And so there's this the 3s and like cracking things open and there are things inside. So that's a very Italian version of the fairy tale.
Love it.
So I really like that one much better because also Petronella is like, also, she has skills and is smart and, like, decides that she wants to be with the prince and, like, summons him, which is really cool. There is the question of agency of, like, does he really love her or is it magic? But beyond
also,
that...
there's already that question in the other one. Except that there is a, like, 15-year-old in a tower. Does she actually love him or is she just trying to get out of an abusive situation?
Yep.
And it's wonderful to see a girl that's like, I want out of this abusive situation. That's my ticket out. And, like... I'm fine with the trope being reversed. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, so those are the 2 notable, very, very similar stories. There are a bunch of other stories from all kinds of cultures around the world that have very, very similar tropes. This is under the Arns Thompson Uther Index Type 310, The Maiden in the Tower, which has a bunch of variations upon and everything like that. Yeah. Like I said, a lot of connections with like sun and moon god myths.
Yeah.
Like the idea of like going up and or coming down from an impossible, like unreachable height, that kind of thing. There's also the story of Zeus and Danae in Greek mythology, where Danae from birth is prophesied to have the child of Zeus, which is a very dangerous thing to do if you know anything about Greek mythology.
Oh, yeah.
And so her parents lock her away where Zeus can't get to her, and he still manages to see her, and he turns himself into a golden rain to impregnate her. And then Danae has the baby of Zeus anyways, and it ruins her life, as was prophesied. So again, some versions she is underground, looking up. In other versions, she's in a tower, and he reigns on the tower.
So one of my favorite parts of that story, which is the story of Perseus' Berthius. But one of my favorite elements is that Zeus doesn't see her. It's that he hears that a girl is in a tower and he's not allowed in. And he's like, what? And then he just like flies around the tower a bunch looking for a way in. And he's like, what a puzzle, what a mystery. And like he gets really excited. And that's why he goes in, because somebody told him he can't.
I think a lot of times, I don't know if this is a dated reference now, but there's a Vine of this guy, and he's on a cell phone, and he, like a flip phone, and he goes, so no head, and then he throws the phone on the ground and smashes a skateboard in half, and that's Zeus to me. Oh, so no head? Oh, smashes a skateboard.
It's just hearing through the grapevine of like, oh yeah, that she's in a tower and there's no door or window because they don't want any men in there, and Zeus is like, oh, I've been summoned.
Challenge accepted.
Woo! And then he gives her a golden shower, and she's like, what the fuck, ew.
There's also a Persian poem from Iran, which is, if you, again, broaden the scope of what fits under the same category of the Maiden in the Tower, there's a Persian poem from Iran, which is from the epic poem Shahnameh by Ferdowsi. The heroine, Rudaba, which you may notice has a similar root as like rutabaga or radish.
Aww.
The heroine, Rudaba, is in a harem, and she is calling down to her lover, Zal, who's outside the window, and she offers to let down her long hair to let him up into the tower, and then Zal says to use a rope instead, because it really hurts to climb up, like have someone climb up your hair.
Aww. What? Why is he the king we need?
Seriously.
That's king behavior.
A problem-solving king.
I love that.
The bar has never been lower.
I love to think that she's like, oh, and then looks next to her and there's like a rope ladder next to her, and she's like, I mean, okay.
That makes sense also. Yeah, so that's Rapunzel. And also all of this information, I don't really have a whole lot of sources that are going to be linked in the show notes, because literally all of this comes from the publicly available Grimm's Storytale, which Storytale again. What is happening?
I don't know, but I also say story notes instead of show notes. I think our brains are just rotted with stories. Story.
So yeah, all of this is either from the publicly available Grimm's fairy tales, which I have a printed copy of, which is a very nice copy, but it's also the same version that's available on Gutenberg.org, and then the rest of it's just from Wikipedia. So this is something that a lot of analysis has been done on. I didn't have to do a whole lot of connecting the dots with it. But I do think it's fucked that we keep getting versions of the story where, like, it's like, oh, the mom is evil, and, like, you know, the prince, like, saves her, and all this stuff, when, in fact, it's way cooler to be like, oh, this little girl was adopted by an ogress,
Trained as a witch,
and she lured in the man of her dreams to save her, and then they lived happily ever
as
after.
Like a siren. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
I will say the thing that Disney did really well, not to keep going back to Tangled, but the one thing that one of the things that is missing from all of these stories is why this woman is obsessed with Rapunzel to begin with, and giving her the whole, like, her hair is magic, it keeps her young. Like, it's bare minimum writing of, like, this is why she's in the tower. This is why her hair is long. This is why Mother Gothel actually keeps going back in. Whereas with this evil enchantress, it's like, why? Just to terrorize a 12-year-old?
There's no incentive. I wrote in here, I was like, motivation? Because it's like, why is she...
It's too much work to also keep, like, maybe it's like her workout routine. Maybe she's like, this is how I keep myself fit, as I have a child that I climb up.
Yeah, but, like, in the Tangled story, it explains that she gets her magic from Rapunzel. In none of the stories, it explains why she's doing this, like the closest we get is the story of like the fairy or the ogress who like genuinely love this child and want to take care of her. There's no like motivation beyond that for her. But like the Grimm brothers version of the story doesn't even begin to try and explain any of this shit. This story is literally 4 pages long.
Yeah. That's a lot shorter than I thought it would be.
Yeah, me too. I read it and I was like, okay, and that's it, I guess. Also, half of it is talking about how her mom has pregnancy cravings.
Okay, I was gonna say, one of the most relatable parts of the story is that her mom gave up her firstborn child just to snack. I was like, yeah. I hate to say it, but like, when I'm hungry, I would literally give anyone anything.
Yeah. I had never heard that that part of the story before. I'd never heard how like the enchantress, witch, whatever, got Rapunzel.
Our current modern day versions don't care about anything except for the prince finding her.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. Also, though, I think both Parsonet and Petronella, it's not the father that gives her away. It's the mother sneaking into the garden and taking the parsley.
Also better.
And then yeah, exactly. Like literally every other version. Those versions are both earlier and they are better and like more ethically sound than the Grimm's brothers.
We have talked about how by the time the Grimm brothers, by the time the Grimm brothers were writing, the whole thing was these stories were for young girls to show them what a proper young lady was like. And it was like, be passive and be coy, be meek. You can't have any agency. You just have to agree and wait for a prince to come. And so like taking away all of the women's agency, all of them, and then the one that has agency, making her just evil with no explanation, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely like I was saying, like, they are way too horny about this story. They're like, isn't it sexy that she's, like, in a tower and nobody else can get to her?
And that she's, like, very, very young.
Yeah. Also, this is just another hole in the plot here, is that the Prince of the Kingdom was missing for years, wandering around wailing in the forest, blinded, and nobody looked for him.
There's no search party. He's actually the least favorite prince.
He comes back years later with some woman and 2 children, and they're like, welcome home at last. Like, no questions.
Okay, what if, she has no context for who this person is or what other men are like, right? Mm-hmm. Except for I didn't know that she was put in when she was 12, so maybe she has some context.
Yeah.
But like,
other versions of the story she's put in right away.
Yeah, so like she's a baby, right? It's the whole thing of like, you meet one man in a story, and then that's the person that you're going to marry. And it's like, okay, there are a lot of other men. Maybe it's not the best. It's what ACOTAR does so well.
Yeah.
But what if she finds out when she moves back in the next part is that he's actually, like, the worst one of them. Everyone's, like, really embarrassed by him. And, like, he's a really stupid, just bad guy. And also, comparatively, he's super ugly. And she's like, oh no. And then she has to live the rest of her life, like, married to, like, this super embarrassing guy who, like, blurts out, like, the stupidest politics and shit, and she's like, oh no.
Yeah, that, like, especially the Grimm brothers version of it is not designed to last.
No.
Like, it's very much, like, they don't have any... He asked her to marry him literally less than 5 minutes after they had met, because he had been listening to her singing when she thought she was alone. And then,
I bet
like,
you anything he's
snuck
the worst
into her
one.
room.
They weren't searching for him because they were so excited that he had disappeared.
Yeah. God, I just... Like, also, like, this... Just to get into the psychology of this a little bit, being like, oh, not only is this a woman who you can save, who will then be grateful to you forever, but she's also never been with anyone else.
She's born sexy yesterday.
Born sexy yesterday, baby. Like, just the whole, and then like, oh, and then like something goes wrong and you get to have like your like tragic emotional origin story where you wander around in the forest crying because you're such a good guy, you know, and then, you know, it's all rewarded because while she was taking care of these infant twins, you were wandering around crying in the forest, but God, she's glad to have you back. She's not even a little bit mad that you couldn't use any resources to like talk to anyone and ask if they had seen a woman. Like,
yeah. Well, also like this could be held over her head for the rest of her life. She's also, he saved her.
Yeah. As far as everyone knows, like, she's an unmarried mother of twins.
Yeah.
Like, her life has to be awful while he's gone. And they don't tell you anything about it, except that she is living in poverty with her twins. Mm-hmm. Like, she is not the main character of this story. The princess.
No, it's
she's
not
not
about
the protagonist. Yeah, which sucks. And that's a very Grimm Brothers thing to do, and I'm disappointed in them.
Yeah, constantly. But Parsinella.
Yeah, Petronella and Parsonet.
Or if you want to combine them, Petronella and Parsonet.
Yes.
Way better.
Yeah.
But that was very fun. I'm really happy to know all of that.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
Good job to you, man.
Oh, man. We done did it.
We done did it.
All right, guys. So we hope you have a good week. If you want to hang out with us and let us know what your thoughts are on this story or anything else, chat with us on Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, TikTok at Sort of the Story, all one word, or you can email us at sortofthestory@gmail.com. Nope.
sortofthestory@gmail.com.
At sortofthestory@gmail.com. And then also rate and review this podcast. It helps us out a lot. And have a great day.
Yeah, and we'll announce more stuff about the Discord on our various social media channels, so you can come join us there. We're all just hanging out. We're all just hanging out and talking.
We're all just hanging out and talking. Like, come and hang out and talk with us. What are you doing?
Yeah, we just have a general chat channel where we're like hanging out with some of our listeners who primarily came from our TikTok. We also have a channel specifically for stories, so if you have stories that you want to share, or if you like heard something that reminded you of a story, or anecdotes, literally any stories you want to share, come share it with us there. Stuff like that. Also, if you have any suggestions or anything like that, you want to have some influence into the way that the podcast grows, then we would love to hear suggestions. So we have a place for that as well. So come hang out with us. We love literally everyone who listens to this podcast. So
except for that one guy.
Except for that one guy.
Oh my God! Stop it!
Here,
hey,
man.
Stop it! Okay. And with that, guys, have the great rest of your life.
Bye forever.
Bye.
What if you had like a Midas touch? Where, like, it was a curse, where, like, you would be like, hey, what's that in your mouth? And everyone would be like, blah, and, like, suddenly it would be jelly beans, and, like, you would be like, hey, talk to me, what's wrong? And it would just be like, blah, jelly beans.
Yes, too many flavors. I know that problem well. I thought when you said Midas touch that you meant, what if I touch you and you turn into a giant Mac-shaped jelly bean? And genuinely, I am now so obsessed with getting a really big jelly bean in the shape of something. I just feel like it would be interesting.
What about, like, those giant gummy bears?
No, thank you. I don't like gummy bears. They're too gummy. I'm not, like, against something having, like, an outer shell. I just think they taste bad. Okay, I think we're good.